Well, how are your lungs doing with that wholesome mountain air? We might need to pause for a moment and catch our breath. The first chapter opens with what today we'd call an info dump. Here we find a myriad of details in a few pages, and most of them have to do with the extended family history and relationships that provide background for our characters. We intentionally, I think, hear much about Heidi's family before we actually get to see her on the page. Heidi's layers of bothersome clothing constrain her, while Aunt Detta fills gossipy Barbara in on all the skeletons in family closets. Did you catch them? Heidi's grandfather, who will be primarily referred to as the Alm Uncle throughout the book, gambled away his inheritance as a young man, abandoned his desolate parents, and left home to do nefarious deeds shrouded in rumors of violence and betrayal before returning with a half-grown son named Tobias. Tobias married Adelheid, who is Detta's sister. So Detta, a young woman in her mid-20s, is Heidi's maternal aunt. Detta and her mother, Heidi's maternal grandmother, are you with me? Cared for 1-year-old Heidi when Tobias and Adelheid died tragically. Not all the details of the info dump are essential to the story, but I want to make sure you catch enough to understand the suspicion and community rejection of the Alm Uncle. Given that his story has long been fodder for the small-town gossip mills, it's up to us as readers to determine if Barbara and Detta are reliable narrators. Do they tell the truth about Heidi's family history? Is gossip a reliable indicator of someone's character? One thing we can know for sure is that the Alm Uncle abandoned any responsibility to Heidi when his son died and instead became a mountain recluse. It is to this foreboding relative, a man who, as Detta says, is withdrawn from God and man, that Heidi will go. And every adult in the story accepts this as normal. Parents and teachers may find here a good opportunity to explore themes of safeguarding, protection, consent, and abuse. The Alm Uncle's backstory includes, if Barbara is to be believed, sinful and harmful actions, with no indication of repentance, changed character, or amends. Adult readers may be able to accept this as part of Spyri's setup for plot and conflict, but it's worth considering how young readers, especially those who still view the world in black and white terms, might digest the scene. And what is our first glimpse of Heidi? We see a 5-year-old girl who quickly strips off the conventional layers of clothing and behavior that Aunt Detta has bundled around her. Do you see how the layers of clothing are symbolically paired with the gossiping women's societal expectations? As Heidi discards them, we recognize that neither are appropriate for this mountain journey. Heidi's cheeks flow with an inner fire, and her actions show us that she is curious and active, another striking contrast with Detta and Barbara's nonstop flow of unobservant words. We also meet Peter, the barefoot 11-year-old known throughout the story as Peterkin or Goat Peter. His own father has died, and he lives with his mother and grandmother halfway up the mountain, somewhere between the little village of Imdurfli and the high valleys of the Alm. Are all the people situated in your imagination? I hope so, because at the close of the chapter, we see most of the characters scatter. Gossipy Barbara's job is done since she's helped us through the genealogy and let us see how judgmental the village is. Peter hops off the page to tend his goats, as he will do throughout the story, and even Detta exits, covering her guilty feelings about abandoning Heidi with a blustering justification and anger directed at the Alm Uncle, then leaving Heidi alone with this new stranger. Throughout the Bible, we see that God is concerned for the vulnerable, and Christians are called to especially look out for orphans. James chapter 1, verse 27. So, while Detta's practical care for Heidi's infancy is commendable, Heidi, like so many orphaned and neglected children, is left to the mercy of the various adults around her. Spyri's premise is both a compelling, inciting incident that makes us want to read more to find out what happens, and an invitation for Christian readers to consider the reality of children in similar circumstances today and how we might partner to care for and protect them, noting that Jesus himself has serious words for those who compound harm to children. Matthew chapter 18, verses 1 through 7. I've included a few ideas for how to do this in the discussion questions and activity ideas section for this chapter.